Are you eager to shoot your first yellowtail and you're tired of shooting little reef fish, but you're lost on how to go after big game fish? Well, here's everything I've learned about yellowtail over the last 6 years. Maybe this might sound basic, but you have to go to where the fish are. And in Southern California, that means getting on a boat and finding these floating bait fortresses. The hardest part is finding the first one. You can use tools like fish dope, but then you just follow the currents to find more. Summer is the best months to hunt because the spawn is between June and October. The big danger about shooting around patties is that if you have a poor shot, they will run in there and use it to break off. However, if you have a good holding shot, you're gonna have to go into the kelp patty. Just make sure you have a sharp knife so you can cut the fish out. Speaking of yellowtail, they're very powerful, so get that knife into the brain as fast as possible. Speaking of bait fish, if you don't see any yellowtail right when you jump in, look for blue perch and blacksmith. They seem to always hang together, and when you shoot a yellowtail, look for the big one in the back of the school. If you want shooting yellowtail on easy mode, then head down to Baja. Both the Pacific side and the Cia Cortez side are great for yellowtail, but I prefer the Pacific side if you are going to go for the bigger grade yellows. Using a single flopper is fairly common when going for yellowtail, but when you go for bigger ones, you're going to want to shoot the gill plate to get a good holding shot. And if you're using a reel, then it all comes down to line management. You have to be very careful because these fish will wrap you up. Then EKG made the fish and cut the gills and let them bleed out. Now, when it comes to spear guns, I'm all about my Abellan 110. I've tried inverted rollers and rollers. I actually have a couple, but for anything that's less than 30 pounds, 2 bands, single flopper, and a reel is fine. If I'm going for anything bigger, I will go to a 130 with a slip tip and a float line breakaway system. If you are using a single flopper, then make sure it's tuned, because I've had fish wake up after I thought I've stoned them, and it really sucks to lose the fish at the last minute. Once I have control of the fish, I like to brain spike them, cut the gills, bleed them out, and get them out of the water as soon as possible, because you never know if a sea lion or some other shark is around. Now let's talk about processing your fish. I like to first start off with having it gut and gilled on the boat. Then when I bring it home, I make a cut behind the pec fin, and I take my time slowly cutting away the meat from the bone. Here's one mistake I made early on is I didn't realize you weren't supposed to have fresh water touch the meat. I thought that fresh water was just washing off the blood, but in reality, it's introducing bacteria and degrading the cell structure. This is about the stage where people would throw away the fish carcass, but hold on to it. I'm gonna show you how to make multiple meals out of it to save some money and make some nutritious deliciousness. If you wanna eat raw fish, the FDA recommends that you freeze it for a week at -4 degrees Fahrenheit, and the best way to do that is to dry everything with paper towels and put the skin side down. I like to leave a paper towel inside the bag to absorb any excess moisture. I use a chamber vac. They are expensive, but they do the best job. I never have freezer burn, and I've eaten fish over a year old and it's still good. When it comes to processing in Baja, things are a bit different. You don't have as many resources and things tend to break. So bring 2, even 3 food savers, and make sure that you bring way more ice than you think you need. I like to use the whole fish and save money on those marine collagen powders. So take the head and the bones and put it into water and flavor it with soy sauce, dark soy sauce, and other seasonings, and then boil it for no longer than an hour. Strain out the meat and the bones, and now you're left with a delicious, healthy broth.
Oh, I could drink that all day.
Now take the leftover meat, separate it from the bones, and add a little bit of moisture. I like to have a little mayonnaise, a little mustard, and some furikake. Mix it all together, and now you can make sandwiches. Well, I hope you found some of those tips helpful. Let me know which one you like the most in the comments, and check out this video next.